Some flowers, like these beautiful, bright pink poppies, are just ornamental. They lift the eyes and make the soul happy. While others, like this Hungarian blue breadseed poppy, can be used for food in the form of saving its seeds. Although it's also beautiful to look at. Still others, like these radish blossoms, aren't necessarily food, but they do hold the promise of food to come. They will be pollinated and then they will turn into seed heads, which can be saved for more radishes next year. Others, like this yarrow, have medicinal benefits, but also make a very sweet little cut flower. Some, like this chamomile with its dainty little blossoms, can be plucked and saved and dried and kept in a jar for tea. But today, I am not harvesting chamomile. In fact, I am not harvesting anything from my garden. Today, I am off to the woods in search of some wild tea additions. This is a plant that most people are probably familiar with. It's called Japanese honeysuckle, and although it's not native to our country, it does roam very, very freely and is considered an invasive species. I should know, as we attempted to rip out a whole patch of it this spring on one side of our yard. It will probably never stop coming back from the pieces of roots. Children often like to pull these blossoms off and suck the honey out of them. But if you pinch them off just above the stem, you can dry them and add them to teas. It gives a gentle, sweet flavor, just like summer. Another addition that I'll be gathering in just a moment comes from this wild rose, which is tucked back in this tree. If you look up just above this gum tree on my right, you may see some clusters of white flowers. These are wild roses, and I won't be climbing up there because I would need a ladder. There's a little patch down behind this tree, just at a height that I can reach. I'm just gently pulling off some of the petals to add into my tea. Now, if you have a larger rose that you're harvesting petals from, there is a small white spot at the base of each petal, which you would want to pull off because it's bitter. But if you are just using these small wild roses, whether they're pink or white, I don't think it's really necessary to try and pull off every little piece. These roses were just about spent, so the petals were just falling off. I ended up just sticking the whole branch into my basket and just tapping it to make them fall off. I may come back later at the end of summer or the beginning of fall and see if there are any usable rose hips left on this plant. Rose hips are another tea addition that you can harvest from roses. It's the fruit of the rose, and it's very, very high in vitamin C. I've never used wild rose hips because they're very, very small, but I may just have to give it a try this year. There are lots of other wild plants that you can use to dry for tea. There's clover. You use the blossoms or wild mints. I've already harvested some mint and clover, but there's one more thing that I need to harvest while I'm out here. This is a sassafras tree. It doesn't look too much like it right now because the leaves are still young, but as they grow a little bigger, they'll fill out and get those very classic mitten-shaped leaves that are so easy to identify. Today I'm harvesting these for gumbo. Now that I've harvested everything, it's time to put it somewhere it can dry. I don't have a dehydrator, and I don't really want to buy one either. I've talked about making a solar dehydrator, which I'll probably do at some point. But for now, this very flat, airy basket is perfect for drying. I used some wire and made a little hanger for it so it can hang above the kitchen counter from our recessed lighting. It's the perfect place for it, and as I leave these here in roughly a single layer, they should dry nicely. You can see I already have some mint and some clover blossoms and a few chamomile blossoms. There will be more in the future, of course, but chamomile is slow to start. Picking off the heads encourages the plant to make more, so it shouldn't be too long. After these have all had time to completely dry, I will be able to take them off and put them in a jar together. I'll combine them and I'll make a lovely summer tea. I have some lemon thyme here also that I just harvested. It's in full flower, and it adds a very sweet, gentle, lemony flavor. It's one of my mom's favorite additions to a tea. She likes making it with ginger. So, these will hang here. I will add more things. I may add some blackberry leaves and some more mint. But let's get back to those sassafras branches. I told you I was harvesting them for gumbo. In case you don't know, gumbo is a kind of soup. It's Louisiana famous Creole style, and it's delicious. I'd never had it before a few years ago, but once I had it, I knew I had to make some at home. So I looked for a recipe and I gathered my ingredients. But there was just one thing I couldn't seem to find in any stores around our area. It was a mystery ingredient to me, and it was called filet powder. So I assumed it was some combination of seasonings that's, commonly used in the Louisiana area. So I looked it up because I assumed, hey, if it's a combination of seasonings, I can probably make it myself. But then I discovered that it's made from dried sassafras leaves. And I thought, well, I have a sassafras tree, but that was in the fall, late fall, and at the time there were no leaves on the sassafras tree. So I've been patiently waiting all winter for these leaves to make their grand debut. Now that they're just about fully grown, I feel I have waited long enough. So I clipped a few branches. I'll probably end up making more at some point. I don't know how much filet powder this will make, but I'm going to tie them together and secure them well so that the branches don't slip as they dry. Then I will make a knot so there's a loop to hang it on, and I will hang it on a tiny hook out of direct sunlight somewhere not too far away so I don't forget about them. This little hook up here is a great spot. I've hung dried chili peppers here before, and I also hung up my garlic here last year. The string has to be adjusted for proper height, but I'll place these here and let them dry. After they've hung for a while, they should completely dry out, and then I can take them down and put them in my mortar and grind them into a fine green powder. Then I'll put them in a bottle and I'll make some gumbo, and it'll be good. So that's all for this week. I'll see you guys again next time.